Cane fans, welcome back to the show. It is Tuesday night, and as always, cheers. Hydration. It's cafecito time, and as you guys pour into the chat, let's give a quick second to our sponsor. Let's pop them in here real quick. La Espumita. You guys know the drill. You got your La Espumita formula that you can add to your coffee. You've got your La Espumita bites if you want your coffee in the form of snack food. Want to know how it works? There's an example right there. Just throw a spoonful of that magic into your boring ass coffee, and there you go. Some Cuban coffee for you. Got some merch. You got some mugs, sweaters. Go follow them on IG. La Espumita, taste the tradition. Oh, now. So back to the show. Let's go back to the comments here. Hit that like button. Tangle, what's going on? Mark, see what he says. Can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can try to make rules and policy, but there will be under the table deals like before, just like before NIL. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. That's why I titled this video, Is the NIL Beyond Repair? In a way, like Mark just said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. They can't just walk it back and say, oh, never mind, players can't get paid anymore. It's here. It's here to stay in some form or fashion. Of course, so is the transfer portal. So none of that, none of that's going to go away. It's going to get controlled to a certain degree because I think the floodgates have opened so quickly and so unexpectedly quickly that I think the NCAA or whoever's in charge here is going to have to step in and put some kind of rules in place. So, and honestly, I'm in favor of that. There's got to be some kind of control of this. Do I want players to get paid? Absolutely, 100%. Players should be getting paid. They are selling out stadiums, and those students and those fans are damn sure not there to see the coaches. That's not what they're paying to see. They're paying to see the players make plays. They're paying to see that wide receiver score an 80-yard touchdown. They're paying to see, that linebacker, come across the middle and, nearly take some dude's head off. They're coming to see the team win, and they're coming to see the players play. So they're the ones that should be benefiting monetarily, at least somewhat. So I absolutely agree they should be getting paid. Now, they do need to regulate this to some degree. And what can they do? I don't know. Maybe make the players employees in some way. Maybe you can, through contracts and stuff like that, you can control them a little more. Maybe have the money go through the school somehow. Maybe the school controls the finances and they, kind of divvy up the money among the players. That could open the door for a little shenanigans. But I mean, there's a ton of shenanigans happening right now, but at least there's some control of it by the university. And, they can put caps on it. And I just think, yeah, that's what I was thinking. They could put caps on it. So yeah, you need to, or maybe like a tier system, like Flo was saying, whatever. It needs to be controlled in some form or fashion. That being said, there's a certain player, a certain wide receiver that I don't think, has he officially hit the portal yet? I don't even know. I think technically he hasn't, but anywhere, no word on Zoe, at least to my knowledge. No word on Zoe just yet. But the player I'm referring to, you guys all know who it is by now, but I'm happy for him that he's going to be getting his money by somebody. But I just hope, he's a welcome addition to any roster, obviously. I just hope my team decides that $3 million or whatever it is ends up. Did he hit the portal today? Okay. Maybe he finally hit the portal today officially. I just hope that my team decides that $3 million or whatever amount of money is better and more smartly spent elsewhere or invested elsewhere than a 1-year rental. Does a award-winning wide receiver, is that a seismic shift for the team? No. It definitely puts us in a better position as far as ACC title contention. But does it make us a championship contender? I don't think so. I think there's still holes that need to be filled besides that position. Any new players hit the portal? There's players hitting the portal all the time. The FCS guy. Are you referring to there was a linebacker or a DN that hit the portal that had an insane amount of sacks over the last couple of years? Let's see, Max, what's going on, brother? So yeah. Anyway, those are just my quick thoughts on what's going on. Now, thank God Miami's on the right side of this as far as, financially speaking, because say on 4th and 14 in Tallahassee, that ball gets thrown, somebody comes over and knocks it down, somebody comes off that edge on a blitz and sacks Jordan Travis and the game's over and we win. Then we end up finishing off the season 8-4, and I truly believe that Manny Diaz is still our coach. If we stop them on 4th and 14, win that game, yeah, we're happy at the time. We beat FSU, hooray, whatever. But all the positive that happened from that point forward, I don't think would have happened. That being said, if we're still in a position where Blake James is still here and Manny Diaz is still here, this roster would be absolutely getting gutted right now. Guys like James Williams, Avante, TVD, who knows if, this is, of course, hypothetical, who knows who they're being lured by. All these big programs with all this money, they could just come in and, what's stopping them from just cherry picking? Of course, I'm talking, this is if they're guilty of tampering, which not saying the top teams are or anything, but you can't tell me throughout college football there isn't some shenanigans going on behind the scenes. Of course there are. And how can you police it? Right now you can't. Manny was gone no matter what. I disagree. I honestly disagree. I think if we finish off that season 8-4, on the winning streak that we were on, I think he's still here. And it is a totally different feel around this program. Right now, the saving grace of this whole mess that the NIL and the transfer portal has created is that, at the very least, Miami's on the right side of it. They have an amazing coaching staff. They got financial backing. So they're going to benefit from what's happening right now, which is great. It'll never be fully. Yeah, true. No, that's what I was saying before. It's never going to be fully policed, but you can put things in place that I think can help. For example, I had a few ideas, like you're limited to one transfer in your college career. That can help. Maybe some of these young men might think twice about making that move because they know they only have one. They only got one in the chamber, so they better make that transfer count. Just an idea. There would be, man, he would, yeah, I 100%. I think he would still be here had we won that game. So you cap it to one transfer per player. You only allow the player to play that same season if he's transferring because his coach got fired or his coach all of a sudden left. We see that happen all the time. Coaches, say they're staying. Hey, our coach did it. It's part of the game. Brian Kelly has done it multiple times. If your coach just up and leaves or gets fired, then you should be allowed to transfer. You should be allowed to transfer and play that same season. Outside of that, there should be rules in place. Like you got to sit out a year. You got to sit out 5 games, whatever. Something to make it not so easy. Let's see. I don't think I've ever seen a coach grind as hard as Mark. Yeah, agreed. Not just Mario himself, the staff. Let's see what's happening with IL is just tip of the iceberg. People should have seen this coming. The next step is full-scale pro contracts with schools. Yeah, now you're talking about them being employees, which it could be where it's headed. But then again, there's still, how do you make them employees but still student athletes? Could you do both? I don't know. Fresh, I don't know if I agree with that. Could we use another top wide receiver? Yeah, absolutely, we could. What we needed was a great quarterback and a great play caller and a great offensive line. Maybe we're getting all those things in 1 year. Les, always good to hear from you, brother. Almost missed your show. Glad I caught it live. Glad you're here, man. Not all schools have the money to do that. That's unfair. Oh, yeah, making them employees. Yeah, no, you're right. And I think about like the middle tier schools and the lower tier schools that just don't have the funds. And, let's say they got like a Khalil Mack, like who I think came out of Buffalo. They're not going to be able to hang on to him past his freshman year because Alabama's going to come in and be like, hey, here's whatever amount of money. How are they going to hang on to him? But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd get my thoughts on that because it's a little crazy right now, but let's focus on the positive. We have, we added some pieces in the portal, which I wanted to go over. I wanted to go over, position by position, all the guys we've added in chronological order since, have them all right here, since the addition of Frank Latson on December 3rd. I believe it was December 3rd, if I have my date correct. So we'll go with that, and then you guys tell me what you think about each as we go over each transfer edition. What you guys think of each one? Where do you guys see them fitting on this team? Are they going to start? Are they going to be two deep guys? Are they there just strictly for depth? We'll see. It's going to be fun to go through it, but in the meantime, while I set that up, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it. Share this with your friends, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, wherever. NIL will make college football unfair. It kind of was already heading that way, Wesley. It was kind of already heading that way. This has pulled the curtain back, I think, on what was already happening to a degree. But now that it's legal to a certain extent, well, not to a certain extent, it's legal. You can pay players. The amounts have skyrocketed. That's what's getting crazy. Let's see. What's Max saying? In my opinion, they need to ban immediate transferring again and set legit rules with no exceptions. Agreed. They were all, yeah. Exactly, Max. It's always been unfair. The teams with money have always had an edge. This just gives them, I think, more of an edge because you can throw a ridiculous amount of money at a player. And how does a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid say no to? So they say no to seven figures. I mean, that's life-changing money for somebody in their 30s or 40s. You know what I mean? Imagine a teenager. So anyway, let's go through some of these transfer portal additions. You guys let me know. I'm going to go one by one. I'm going to start chronologically from when they announced they were coming to Miami. And you let me know, what do you guys think? I'm going to bring up name X, and you tell me, what do you think? What do you think that guy's going to do? What do you think his how he's going to fit on this team? So let's start with number one. The first guy we added was Frank Latson. Frank Latson, I think, is going to be, if healthy, I think he's going to start. And I don't think he's going to be like a Charleston Rambo, KJ Osborne kind of addition, but I think Max thinks too deep. I think he's going to start for the most part. I think he's going to get like starter snaps, and he's going to be like a reliable. He and Xavier, I think, are going to be the most go-to targets at the receiver position. That's not including tight ends. This offense is going to use tight ends a lot more, but we'll see. So I think Frank Latson, welcome addition to the team. And I think he's going to do good things. I think he's going to raise his draft stock a little bit, maybe be like a mid-rounder. If he decides to come out this year, he might even stay because I think he's got a couple years of eligibility left. Coming up next is Jake Lichtenstein. Jake Lichtenstein, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. We'll assume I am. And I think this dude is another two-deep guy. I don't think he's going to start, but he's going to play a lot of snaps. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that comes off the bench, two-deep potential start. That's where I have him. I don't think he's going to start, but I think he's going to be a guy coming off the bench a lot. He was getting a lot of chest bumps from Jason Taylor in the spring game, so I think they like him a lot. Brings size and strength to that D line. If somebody gets nicked up, you can plug in. He's a plug and play guy, and you could put him in as the starter, and there's not going to be much of a drop off. I think Les was talking about Frank Latson. I think we have better. He looks slow. You think Frank Latson looks slow? I don't know. I don't think he got much of a chance to show what he can do in that spring game. It was a small sample size. I'm willing to see over the span of a few games what he can do, especially with this schedule. You got a couple of kind of cupcake games where these receivers can eat a little bit, and we'll see what they're capable of. And then we'll see on the big stage in Texas at Texas A&M what they can do. So, do we have better? Maybe. Does he look slow? I disagree because he was known for being more like a deep threat. That was one of his, that was one of the things about him that people liked. Hey, Supreme Goon, what's going on? Lichtenstein looks good. Good rotation guy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Jake will provide solid rotational snaps during the season. Will be very productive. Agreed. I think we're all in agreement. Jake Lichtenstein, I think, is going to be a very productive player, maybe borderline starter. We'll see. For those of you guys coming in on the chat, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Next up, Antonio Moultrie. Latson probably the second fastest receiver on the roster. Yeah. Hopefully he'll get a chance to show it. All right. Antonio Moultrie, he's a guy that lacks a little bit of size, but players from UAB tend to be very well coached. And obviously Mario and staff saw something that they liked. He's one of those guys that can be like a culture guy. He could be a good locker room guy. Somebody gets nicked up and, you need some depth. I think he's a guy that can step in and make a few plays. I don't know how much he's going to do now with the guys that we've added as of late to that D line. But Moultrie, I think, he's going to be one of those guys that has a great attitude, great culture guy, great team guy, and might make a few plays, maybe play some special teams. We'll see. That's my opinion on Moultrie. Let me know what you guys think. Not in the too deep as of right now. You talk about Agude? No, not yet. Agude was more recent, so I'm going chronologically. So from the beginning, starting with Latson, I'm on the third player now, which is Moultrie. See, Firefighter Kane, what's going on, man? See, all the transfer D-line guys will see a ton of snaps. Mario brought them in for a reason. They're going to play a lot. I think most of them will. I agree with you. I just don't know if Moultrie, as of right now, is going to get too deep type of snaps. Some big school will be coming for Jake soon. NIL double-edged sword. Didn't think it is a double-edged sword. You are right. So that's Antonio Moultrie. Up next, you got Henry Parrish. I think this was the first kind of splashy acquisition in the transfer portal. Splashy because of a few reasons. Number one, he's from South Florida. He's from my alma mater. He's from Christopher Columbus High School. He helped Columbus to their first, believe it or not, was their first state championship back in 2019. They had obviously they have a rich football history over there, like a gajillion district championships. They've gotten close. They've gotten to states a few times over the years, but never won states. They've always been kind of like that underdog, undersized team, but very well coached, great culture, that kind of thing. Finally, they broke through and won. Henry Parish Jr. having a lot to do with that. I see Henry Parish being a great third down back, a great change of pace back. Yep, agreed. Third best back on the roster, but they're going to be using three backs. He's going to be a great change of pace guy. Great out of the backfield as a receiver. I think he's a solid blocker. He's just fundamentally sound. The only thing he's missing is that breakaway speed, is that fifth gear where somebody takes a bad angle on him and he's gone. Jalen Knighton has that speed. Don Chaney, when healthy, almost has that speed. Jalen Knighton, to me, right now is the fastest on the team. Let's see. He's the best all-around back. Well said. Best. He has all the tools. Probably he's a better version of, if you guys remember, this is back in the day, early 2000s. Jared Payton, son of the late, great Walter Payton. He was running back here from 2000 to 2003. He was always a backup. Stepped in as the starter in 2003 when Frank Gore got hurt, when he had his second ACL injury. Filled in pretty nicely. The only thing Jared Payton was missing was that elite breakaway speed that Gore had, that Clinton Portis had, that, McGahee had. Payton didn't have that type of speed or even, Hall of Fame caliber talent, but very solid back all the way around. I think Henry Parish is a smaller but better version of Jared Payton. So let's see. We got Henry Parish. We covered him. I think he's going to get quite a bit of snaps, but like in a third back on the third down back kind of situation. So that's my opinion of Henry Parish, but I think he was a great acquisition. I think Parish, Thad, and Jalen Knighton are the top three guys. They're going to do great things in this running game. Next up, you got Logan Psychopolo. Logan Psychopolo, I think, is the first one on this list that almost guaranteed is going to be a starter, in my opinion. Right now, he's in the 2 deep, from what I understand. But Logan, I don't know where he's going to start. It could be center, it could be left guard, it could be right guard. I don't know where, but obviously the coaching staff knows him from his time at Oregon. And he's gonna find a home somewhere on that O-line. They brought him in for a reason. They know what they're getting with him. And this O-line needed a bit of an injection of talent. More than anything, I think they needed the right coaching. Because there's some talent on this O-line, but they needed a little more. Logan Psychopolo was that little more, and I think he fits in perfectly at either guard or center. So my opinion, yep, we're in agreement, Max. My opinion, Logan is a starter. I just don't know at what position. We'll see. Crazy Strong. You're wrong, Peyton, not even on Parish level. Yeah, I say Parish is a better version of Jared Payton in the sense that he has all the tools, very well-rounded, just no elite breakaway speed. He has everything else. Jared Payton was kind of the same thing. Let's see. So yeah, that's Logan Psychopolo. Let's see who's next. Now here we go. Supreme Goon, Mitchell Agude. Mitchell Agude was another bit of a splash acquisition. Now we're getting into the, kind of the bigger ones of late. Mitch Agude, he comes in with great size. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 245 around there in that range. Very good size coming off that edge. Max thinks starter. I think he's a borderline starter. I would agree with that. He's like right there. I say borderline starter, but then it's hard to think of a guy that's like for sure going to give him competition there. Starter and has 6+ sacks. I hope you are right because we desperately need that coming off the edge. I think Harvey is the other starter. But man, I don't know. He's like right there. I'll say borderline starter. I need to, hear how he's doing once he arrives on the team and he's participating in the workouts and in drills. We'll see. Love his tape. Yeah. No, he has solid tape for sure. And I think he had more pressures or more hurries than either Chance Williams or Jafari Hardy last year. So I know what you're thinking. Well, hurries, that's not sacks. True. But if you're getting pressures and if you're getting consistent pressures on the quarterback, even if you're not touching the quarterback, you're still affecting the play. And at the college level, pressures can lead to turnovers. I think Harvey in a war for his spot. Yeah. And remember, you still got Elijah Roberts and you still got other kid from Columbus, Jabari Ishmael. You got those two guys. Hurry's better than sacks in terms of stats. Yeah. Yeah, no, give me the guy that gives you a ton of hurries, because if he's consistent getting pressure on the ball, on the quarterback, I want that on my team. So Mitchell Agude, Max thinks he's going to start. A lot of you guys think he's going to start. I think he's a borderline starter. He's like right there. This is, of course, assuming Elijah Roberts. I'm still not 1,000% sure how they're going to use him, but you got him and you got Ishmael waiting in the wings. Who's to say they might not grab a starting spot? I see a lot of potential in Elijah Roberts. I know a lot of you guys do too. So we'll see. Oh, and then you got Nigel Lee Kelly, who, yes, he's a freshman, but he's going to get healthy. Joe Jackson was a starter in 2016 and had like 9 sacks, so you never know. And then you got Cyrus Moss, who a lot of people thought, he's got to, including me, he's got to wait a year. He's got to hit the weight room. Let me tell you something. I liked what I saw already in the spring game, and that's him at 220 pounds or whatever it is. So it'll be interesting. Next up, Daryl Porter Jr. All right, so Daryl Porter Jr., I would have said 2 months ago when we acquired him that he was a starter. In fact, you could probably go back to my show or other shows I've been on around February, and I think I said it once or twice, say, yeah, I think he's the starter on the other side of Stevenson. Now, after what I saw from the corners, I'm not so sure about that, because I think Corey Couch really regained his form from 2020. Let's not forget, everybody's talking about Jordan Addison right now. I'm pretty sure Jordan Addison is the one that Corey Couch ran stride for stride with twice and broke up the pass twice, preventing 2 big plays and preserving that victory. Autism awareness. What's going on, sir? Yo, Big John, how's your day going? My day's going fine, man. Here talking Canes football in the offseason. It's nothing better. Kane, Idaho has him 3 deep. Supreme Goon, 2 deep. Max, 2 deep. Corey Couch is the best corner on the team. He's if not the best corner, he's the second best corner on the team. He's top 2. It seems like he's regained his form. Of course, we're just going off spring. If he can go back to what he showed us in 2020, and like I just said, in 2020, he kept up with a few elite receivers. So we'll see. Backing up forward, don't trust Couch. I trust him right now. He's a junior. Ton of experience. He's got the right coaching staff now. Reeks of stars say, interesting. It feels like we have a surplus of stars and safeties now with Blades back and Frierson and Williams. Now, what do you do with all those guys? Someone's got to move over and play corner. Just arriving. What's up, John? Marcus Clark. Thank you. Marcus Clark played very well in the spring game. Isaiah Dunson made a nice play on a ball that Frank Latson would have caught in the back of the end zone because it was thrown very well. Isaiah Dunson made a great play on that ball, knocking it away. Marcus Clark had a couple of really nice open field tackles, and I think he knocked a ball away over the middle of the field, which, it's been years since we've seen our defense do that consistently. And then you have Malik Curtis even making a play over the middle. You got Jalen Harrell, who is he even going to stay at corner? I feel like he's too big. So I don't know, man. Daryl Porter, I think he's going to get in there. But I agree with Kane Idaho. I think Daryl Porter's a 3-deep guy right now. Maybe backs up Reek, and on the other side, you got Corey Couch and Marcus Clark. And then maybe on third downs, you move Couch to the slot. If it's like third and long, you have so much you can do. If it's a third and short, third and 5 or less, then you go star, or maybe you go a couple of stars. You go, James Williams on one side and Al Blades on the other. It could get really fun with that back seven, what they can do. But what concerns me about the defense, and I've said this, the D-line has to do their job. And that's why Mario added all this much-needed beef up front. Couch looks like he's back to his old self. Agreed. John, what DBs do you see starting this year? If you're a traditional 4, 2 corners, 2 safeties, it's Tyreek, it's DeCorey, it's Avante Williams, Cam Kinchins. Cam Kinchins / James Williams, or Avante / James. Basically, it's going to be like a 3-man rotation at safety. I can't tell you who definitively are the 2 starting safeties, because right now we have 3 starting safeties. You can't really, it's so hard to pick 2. There's going to be formations where we got 3 safeties on the field, and that third guy is going to be James Williams. So those are the starting DBs I see this year. And like I said, behind them, they got Brian Balaam's going to get some playing time. Isaiah Dunson, Marcus Clark made some strides. Finally, I was hoping to see that last year, but finally, it's a year delayed, but both those guys, I think, took a step forward. From the little bit that I saw in the spring, they look different. Harold in a corner. Yeah, I was saying that earlier. I 100% agree. I think he's more of a star safety, that kind of situation. I doubt only way barring injury. I'd be surprised if Harold played a single snap on defense this year. Ooh. Do you think he sticks around on the team if that's the case? What about the freshmen? Do they have a shot? Graves. There's depth at corner right now from what I see. That room is looking much better than what I thought a couple months ago. So that's why I'm saying Daryl Porter's like a 3-deep guy. But Graves, I see him playing a lot of special teams this year. And I think that's the way it should be. Let him play a lot of special teams. Let him cut his teeth doing that. Let him come in garbage time. And, maybe by next year, he's playing a little bit. You got Kamari Rogers, who needs to hit the weight room for sure, but very talented. Maybe he gets some garbage time minutes in. Maybe he gets some special teams in. And maybe somebody gets nicked up and he's got to step in. I'm not too scared of that because I know what he's capable of. Oklahoma D lineman just hit the portal. Williams can't be coming off the bench. No, I don't think he's coming off the bench. I really believe James Williams, Kinchins, and Avante are – what, did you mean Avante or James? I'm assuming you meant James. If you got those 3 guys at safety, it's basically a 3-man rotation starting at safety, which I am totally fine with. All right, not to get too off track. So Daryl Porter, 3-deep guy. I think most of us agree with that, 2-deep, 3-deep guy. Now you're coming to my favorite acquisition in the spring, my favorite transfer portal acquisition, Akeem Mesador. This guy is a potential game wrecker. All right. I'm going to see if I can dig up the stats out of my brain. In 2 seasons, man, I can't think of it right now, but I know he averaged, I want to say like 6 or 7 sacks a season. And, he had like all these tackles for loss, like 30 something TFLs for, over 2 years. And he had very, very solid stats. Nothing elite or crazy like that one FCS guy, but very solid, productive stats. And I think he just finished his sophomore year. So he's going to come in ready to take that next major step where, he knows the NFL is looking at him. So I think he's got the ideal size. Another dude that's 6'4", 6'5", in the 260 range, 270. He's big. He's a guy that can play a little D tackle, a little D end. Supreme Goon, you say borderline starter. I think he's starting, man. You going off snaps? I think, yeah, somewhere between borderline starter and starter. He's like right there. I'm going to call it right now. I think Akeem Mesador starts. Then will the U move Mesador around on the D line? Yeah, I think he's going to get used kind of like I think how Elijah Roberts is going to get used. So he's going to play a lot. Yeah, I see Mesador getting starting snaps for sure. That was my favorite acquisition of the spring. He's going to be very disruptive. He's going to get in the backfield a lot. And another thing, he made all those plays in the Big 12 where the ball is out of the quarterback's hand in 2 seconds. And a D lineman can't do anything with that amount of time. But that tells me he's quick. He hustles to the ball. He's always in the right spot. All boxes that I like to see checked off on a D lineman. And he's here. What's the starting D line? That's a little murkier. You got Leonard Taylor in the middle for sure, 1,000%. I think he's going to be at least an all-ACC defensive tackle this year. And then next to him, it could be either Mesador, Lichtenstein. Yeah, either Mesador or Lichtenstein, one of those two. Then on the D end, it could be Elijah Roberts. It could be Mitchell Agude. And on the other side, I'm thinking Jafari Harvey. Or if he shocks us or surprises us, Jabari Ishmael. But I think it's going to be Harvey, at least for the first half of the year. So those are my thoughts on Akeem Mesador. I think that was the best acquisition so far. Extremely valuable. And I can't wait to see him wreck games in the backfield. Now, next up, you got 247 has Jonathan Dennis in April and Akeem Mesador in March. I don't think that's right, like the order, but whatever. Next is Jonathan Dennis. Love you all, hyping players again. Haven't done that thing yet. I get pissed if they don't meet your expectations. We're just having fun here, man. We're just predicting what we think they're going to do. Tow truck, yes, sir. Jonathan Dennis. Jonathan Dennis, I think, is more of a 2-deep guy. I think he's going to be backing up either Psychopolo or who's playing left guard, Jalen Rivers, or maybe backing up, whoever the right tackle is. I think right now it's probably DJ Scaife from what I'm hearing. The coaches love Scaife. Could be Oluwaseun because of his size and his length. That would be the starting right tackle. I think Tow truck is like probably the 7th guy. Like you got the 5 starters, you got the 6th man who you can plug in anywhere. I think Dennis is like the 7th guy that you can plug in. You can move him around. He's versatile. Ideally, he's probably more of a backup tackle. But yeah, I think he's a depth guy. I agree with you, Atlas. What about Seymour? More of a 2 to 3 deep guy, I would say. Great show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Always appreciate Chugmo Beer. I love whenever I see that picture and all caps and all those emojis, I know, it's either Les or Chugmo Beer. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah, Jonathan Dennis, depth guy, but depth that we needed. All right, next, a recent acquisition, Darrell Jackson or Darrell Jackson. I think it's Darrell. So Darrell Jackson, coming in as a 3-star rated player. He comes to us from Maryland. I believe he's a hometown guy. And I heard on a podcast, someone said it perfectly. He's got a ways to go as far as his development. He's a very raw player. You're thinking instant starter as far as Darrell? He's got the size to be an instant starter. I was just getting to this. I think he can be polished and, coached in the next year or so. into that kind of caliber of a player, but he might need a year. That being said, his ceiling is sky high because he's 6'6", 300 plus pounds. He is massive. What I heard on the podcast the other day is that when you look at the Alabamas and the Georgias and teams like that, they got that freakish size on the D-line. They've got at least one or two of those guys. That's the body type that we're shooting for. So Darrell Jackson, welcome, very, very, very welcome addition to the team. We needed some beef up front badly. Maybe not badly because we had already added a few guys, but he's a guy, he's like the cherry on top. He's that last piece we needed, I think, for that D tackle room. And is he a starter? I don't think so yet. I think he's a 2-deep guy, but he could surprise some people. Exactly. The size we've been missing in the middle. He's from Havana, Florida, the Panhandle. Are we done with the portal? King Kyle, the portal's never done. I heard, not sure this is correct. This is from a pretty reliable source, so I'm pretty sure this is right. The deadline for guys to enter the portal and want to play this year has passed. That was May 1st. That was 2 days ago. But if you had already entered the portal, Max, you're probably still listening, correct me if I'm wrong. If you had already entered the portal before May 1st, you can still make your decision. If you're still undecided, you can make a decision to where you want to go, and you can play this year. But you had to have entered the portal before May 1st. I believe that's how it works. 2 deep guys with good coaching become starters. Some do. We needed those guys on our roster, man. This roster was, after losing Nesta and losing a guy like John Ford to the NFL. By the way, congrats to John Ford getting drafted. Good for him, man. I hope he does. I wish him nothing but the best. I forgot what team he got drafted to. Was it the Packers? I want to say it was Green Bay. And I think that's where John Garvin is. Anyway, best of luck to him. But that was Darrell Jackson. And yeah, I think he's a 2-deep guy. Very raw, but he's got some ability. And last but not least, the most recent transfer, Caleb Johnson. This was a big one because I think hands down, no question, this Packers, yes, thank you. Hands down, no question, Caleb Johnson's starting. And I'm not because, I have all these expectations, I'm hyping him up or anything. No, it's just who in that room do you trust to start at the mic? You've got some potential. I love Chase Smith. I love Wesley Bassane. God willing, Wesley Bassane will be healthy. But you look at that room and you're like, man, who do you trust? That's certain guys have potential, certain young guys, but who's just going to step in and wreck games from the middle linebacker position? I don't know. The last guy that I trusted fully 100% in that position was Shaq. Before that, the last guy was Denzel, which was like 3 years before. And the last guy before Denzel, Colin McCarthy was solid. Spence was undersized, but Spence was outside. I love Sean Spence. I'm a big Sean Spence fan, but he was outside. Colin was kind of a tweener. Mike, outside. Last guy before that I trusted 1,000% was probably John Beeson in the middle. So it's like every few years you had a guy, but it's been a while, man. And I'm not saying Caleb Johnson is that caliber, but is he a starter in this room right now? 100%. I put him at the mic to start. And he improved. He definitely brings something to that room, I think. McCarthy was more than solid. He looked better in the NFL than he looked here. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Colin McCarthy. He certainly had some moments where games where he looked fantastic and games where he kind of disappeared. He was a little inconsistent, but that wasn't his fault. He got to the NFL, got NFL level coaching, and was a starter and a captain at one point on the Tennessee Titans. So he's one of those guys that had, he was good. He was very solid, and solid is not, an insult. Solid, a very, very good player when he was here. Had a couple holes in his game, but then went to the NFL and balled out. Unfortunately, he had to retire kind of young because of concussions, I think it was. Yeah. John, my 2 surprise freshmen are Graves and Harris are going to be great for the U. All right. Yeah, I think Graves could do something, but we'll see. Again, that cornerback room is looking much deeper than I thought. The question is, do you want Johnson or Steed in the middle? Easy answer. Yeah, that is an easy answer. Steed is a nice guy off the bench. You know, he can come in when the starter needs a break. He can come in and there's not too much of a drop off. You know, he can hopefully make some plays. Corey Flagg, I feel the same way. I think he's a solid backup. Decent rotational guy. But Caleb Johnson can come in and infuse some talent into that room immediately. Experience, very good tackler, and very good in pass coverage. He's not lightning quick. You know, I don't think he's like the most amazing athlete, but athletic enough and smart enough that he can read, the passing game. He can read, passing plays very well. So I really like the acquisition of Caleb Johnson. I think he fits well. I would love to get one more, but if this is who we got, this is who we got. Between Keontre, Frierson, Steed, Wes, Chase, one person, at least one, maybe two, has to emerge with Kevin Steele and Charlie Strong coaching this squad. Someone has to emerge. Johnson and Keontre Smith starting. I think that's who you see week 1. By week 5 or 6, I think Chase Smith is starting. I've been saying it since last year, and I'm not getting off that. I am not getting off that, man. I really think, let me turn a little light on in here, getting a little dark. There's no way you can keep Chase Smith off the field if he's healthy. There's no way. So that's it, guys. That is who we've brought in this year. If you missed it, I started back from Frank Latson all the way to now. I talked about Frank, Lichtenstein, Moultrie, all those guys leading up to Caleb Johnson, which was the most recent acquisition. If you want to, hear what I have to say, rewind, rewatch squad, go back and watch it again. Let's see, with Johnson in the middle, neither Frierson, Chase, and Keontre, outside speed shouldn't be an issue with linebackers, at least not like last year. Yeah, I very much agree with that because one of the main issues was poor tackling. That was one of the biggest issues for this whole defense, but especially linebacker. And also like a little bit of hesitance. I don't think you see the same hesitance. And I don't think, obviously, you don't see the same amount of missed tackles. I think you're going back to that old school hit, stick, and drive to the ground. None of this, gator rolling the guy over to the ground because it's safer or whatever, or you're preserving your body. I don't know. I don't know what the whole point of that was. I know there's some teams. I know Seattle does something similar, but they made it work. Obviously, we were doing it wrong. If they can make it work and we couldn't, this is going to be a much more hard-hitting defense because guys are going to fly around and they're going to make some athletic plays. You saw it. The best example of it, I thought, was the NC State game. I mean, I don't know what got into us that night. We were swarming to the football. It's hard to miss a tackle when 5 or 6 of your buddies are there to help you make that tackle. Strong will not allow bad tackling. Amen. Agreed. Hit the like button. Yes, thank you, sir. Coach Steele will have this defense humming. Agreed. I'm with you. Chase is a monster. That's what I'm saying, man. By the 5th game, I would say he's starting. 100%. If he's healthy, he's starting. All right, everybody. That's going to be it for me. Just wanted to, since there's more of you now, just wanted to share my sponsor with you really quick. Let's pop them on the screen here. LaSpumita.com. Actually, the URL change, it's shop.espumita.com. But again, if you're like me, you live in Miami or you don't live in Miami, but you're a fan of Cuban coffee, you want to bring it up to like Kane, Idaho, you want to bring that, a taste of Miami up to Idaho, there you go. Right there in a jar. Add it to your coffee. All of a sudden, your coffee's not boring no more. You got the merch, the sweaters. Follow them on Instagram. They're a great, hilarious follow. I love them. One of them, of course, is a buddy of mine. So go support them. Go check out their stuff. And as always, guys, it's all about that you. Go Canes. Have a good night.